Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending when y'all watching this video. PR, just gonna make this video really quick because the video I attached to this is pretty lengthy. I mean, it's 4 minutes long, so the subject is obviously under the thing, why teach children, babies, about sex when they should be teaching children math, science, history, anything but asking about a teenager, a kindergartner should be learning the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s about gay relationships or even heterosexual relationships is just ridiculous. To argue with someone about why it's unethical of teaching babies about something they shouldn't have to even, they're not thinking about. I didn't think about sex until I was like 15. And at kindergarten, I was worried about what cartoon I want to watch. Sesame Street. You know, like, I can only imagine if I was a fly in a room of a kindergarten class today, and instead of kids playing with blocks and learning how to count, the teacher's sitting there telling them about homosexual relationships or even heterosexual relationships. And what sex is fucking ridiculous. But the video speaks for itself. It's my first time adding a video to my video, so please watch that video in its entirety. Like, it speaks for itself. But my thought on it is real quick, thoughts and theories. My thought is that we shouldn't have sex taught to kindergartners. And my theory is, I honestly couldn't tell you why is that even spoken about? Why speak to babies and children about sex is just beyond me. And the guy arguing with the young lady, who I recommend you look up, she's awesome. I'm gonna leave the full video of her whole discussion on a description. So yeah, definitely check her out. Peace and love. Y'all have a good night.
Following that.
You can respond, yeah.
Okay, so then my question, I guess, following up on that, would you be against then like a kindergartner being like read a story that has like 2 dads or 2 moms?
I mean, that doesn't necessarily make me upset. I wouldn't go running to the school board about it. I would question the need for having any sort of conversation that talks about relationships in school. But if you're just showing a picture book and it has 2 dads in it, okay, whatever. I'm not upset about it. I think what specifically conservative parents are really upset about is things much more nefarious than showing 2 dads in a book. I mean, talking about homoeroticism and pornography and different ways to engage in sexual acts, gender confusion. That's what's really brought parents to the forefront of this discussion. It's not something as simple and as harmless as showing 2 dads in a book.
Okay, but like, do you understand that like that is in Florida, like that is what's not allowed to happen though?
No, I don't understand that.
Like
That's
teachers
in the bill.
Well, it wasn't written in the bill, but that's why I'm saying that I feel like bills like those are being targeted towards gay people and lesbians as well.
I would argue that the bills also say that you should not show children heterosexual acts. So it's not targeting of any kind to any sort of sexuality. I wouldn't want to send my kindergarten to school and have them talk about a man and a woman having sex. I think the bill explicitly lays out what conversations are appropriate for school and what conversations are not. And sexual conversations about sexuality, identification, are just not what we send children to school for.
But would you be against then like a fifth grader just reading a book where there's a relationship between like a man and a man or a woman and a woman? where like their sexuality is discussed?
I mean, not necessarily, but I don't know why that book has to be given to that child from the school. I think there are very few things that a school should be taking care of, and that is math, reading, writing, science, and maybe some home economics. But as far as engaging in conversations about any sort of relationship or sexuality, it feels wholly unnecessary to me. And I don't know where the school train ran away from us that they now feel that they are the arbiters of teaching children anything that has to do with relationships. I think those are conversations for mom and dad, or dad and dad, or mom and mom.
What about the relationships between like men and women? In the sense that like there are plenty of books where a man and a woman are together.
Sure, yeah. If you want like we go on a date and go get lunch together or something like that, sure. But again, that's not what parents are coming to the school for.
But I would disagree, and I would say I think there are plenty of people who are upset.
Oh, I
that is
mean,
being taught, and that is what's happening.
You could say that, and you'd probably find a few Christian people who go.
Well, I think it's more than a few. If we're going to be realistic, in Florida.
Well, I'm not a religious person. I'm sure there's plenty of Christian people who say I'm against that in school. But I think it is about being forthright with what we have with our kids. Like when I went to school and we were going to get any sort of sexual education, I was sent home with a piece of paper a week before, a day before, that said, hey, we're going to have a conversation about sexual activity and relationships with your child. Here's what we're going to discuss. If you'd like to opt out, check this box here. We'll send your kid to another room and they can have a pizza party. I don't know why that it's such a difficult thing to do in the modern age, and why teachers feel the need to inject these conversations into classrooms without parents knowing. I think a great way to mitigate this problem as a whole is to engage in curriculum transparency, where at the beginning of every year, when you send your child to school, you get a little book that says, here's what we're teaching. Here are the resources your kid is going to look at. You can look at these resources yourself. If you have a problem with any of the resources we are going to give your child, notify us. And it's a very simple issue. To just put the power back in the hands of parents where it should have been from the beginning. And it feels weird to meet such resistance on allowing parents to be able to make that choice for their kids. Not necessarily resistance from you, but from left-leaning people at large.
Okay, and then I mean, don't necessarily agree with that, but I guess just to go to the second.
Yeah, what was